1, 2, 3, let's go.
Wednesday afternoon. Oh,
So 2.5 billion, were Sky, etc., able to come out of that contract because one of the top teams was thrown out, then yes, I mean, theoretically there would be a massive loss of money. Now, let's hope and let's face it, that's all highly unlikely, I would have thought. What is a bit of a mystery, and I've thought so for a long time, is why these 115 charges haven't been dealt with. The first and obvious thought is, well, how can it possibly be 115 misdemeanors on the part of that club? It surely cannot just be related to the financial fair play rules, or PSR, I think as it's called now, because it couldn't amount to that many faults unless it goes back a long time. I mean, I don't even believe that these charges have even been detailed. Are you aware of what they actually are about, the charges?
I haven't looked it up actually. All we hear is linked to the financial whatever.
Financial fair play.
That's it, yeah. Financial play. And I'm swayed to believe this. However, and the reason why, all right, so I'll go with the reason why I'm swayed to go along with this this theory. Now, the reason why I would be swayed to go along with it is it seems to just be in limbo. Nobody's ever positively said anything about it. It'd be mentioned, but it was like a hush hush kind of thing, oh, don't say that out too loud, people might start asking questions. Let's just enjoy the game. And it was like it was being swept under the rug, as they'd say, and that's one reason why I would believe that. But then the other thing is, if it was a financial misconduct, whatever they call it, fair play, financial fair play misconduct, then why is the government not stepped in?
I mean, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure. I mean, the government, they are in the process, I believe, of appointing, if they haven't already done it, if they have, I've missed it, but of appointing a football regulator, perhaps in the wake of these huge number of charges. Maybe it's considered that football does need a regulator who can either oversee these things or more closely monitor what clubs are doing. But I don't believe that regulator is there yet. So I'm not sure the government would have the power to actually step in anyway. Now, let's face it, if it is a mystery. You hit the point on the head here, that why hasn't this been dealt with? Is it been delayed deliberately? Because the possible outcome of dealing with this would be massive, catastrophic for the Premier League, and that seems to ring true, doesn't it? Because if you're talking about one of the small clubs, relatively, I mean, dare I say, like my own Palace or Brighton, then you feel it will be dealt with. I mean, a week or two ago, Leicester in the Championship were not relegated, but they were deducted 6 points, which has put them just about in the relegation positions in the Championship. And I believe that was to do with fielding a couple of unregistered players. I think that's what that was about. But clearly, the English Football League, the Premier League, they will, execute penalties on clubs that fall foul of the rules, which is fair enough. That's what rules are there for. But it does.
say hello to old Mimi, Dr. Gladys and Rose, three beautiful ladies who join us on our shows. There's one other bro, sometimes joins us on the show.
That's what rules are there for. But it does seem a mystery why, even over the last couple of seasons, that other clubs in the Premier League, etc., have suffered some sort of sanction or fine for misdemeanours, but this still hasn't happened to Manchester City. And it's almost a case, I think in when we had the financial problems, I don't know, 15 years ago, 2008 was it? It was said that some of the banks were too big to fail. And I think that's probably true of a club like Manchester City or Liverpool, Manchester United. They are too institutionalised. They're institutions in themselves. They're too big to be allowed to fail. And if these charges, if they were severe enough and the penalties which would be due were severe enough, as they would probably have to be, it could mean they're thrown out the league. It could almost bankrupt them if there was a massive fine. All sorts of possibilities of negative outcomes. And so it makes you think, are the powers that be, they don't really know how to deal with this because they can't afford to rock the boat with the broadcasters because of the money that comes in, which feeds the Premier League and other leagues effectively down to the grassroots. So it's a real dilemma as to what they should do. And given the long time it's taking and the lack of information coming out, we can only assume that it's too big a problem and they don't know what to do about it, because they can't just wipe the slate clean and say, well, we'll forgive you this time. It's obviously too big an issue to do that. The fact that we know there are so many charges here, but as I say, I don't believe we know or have been told what exactly was wrong. If it is financial fair play, then at the end of the day, you'd think that could be dealt with and a suitable punishment, fine or points deduction could still take place without rocking the foundations of the Premier League. So it does suggest there's something rather more serious. But what that will be, we may yet find out.
Yeah. But what I'm thinking is, whatever they've got to do or whatever action that they've got to take or seem to be taking, they have to follow the rules, don't they? And I think that remains a problem because how do you then bend the rules for a club like Man City and not bend it for the other smaller clubs? I think they have a real dilemma in their hands, the FA and the Premier League body. Anyway,
they do.
Yeah, it might just never be solved. It might just be like that forever. 115 charge. 115 charges forever.
Say hello to old Mimi, Dr. Gladys and Rose, three beautiful ladies who join us on our shows. There's one other bro sometimes joins us on